The Toronto International Film Festival, which fashions itself to be one of the world's preeminent cultural festivals around the world, where many filmmakers have their films come and see commercial success, well, the organization has found itself embroiled in a controversy of its own making. And why? Well, because they decided to cancel a film that could be perceived as controversial. But why did they cancel it? Apparently, the filmmakers didn't receive permission from Hamas terrorists to use some of the footage. It's a head scratcher. It's crazy. Hello, I'm Adrienne Batra. With me are Lorrie Goldstein and Brian Lilley. I want you to show the cover of the New York Post right there, Brian, that today shows Show No Evil, the Toronto International Film Festival canceling this film about a harrowing journey from October 7th of a father going to rescue his granddaughters and his son while the Hamas terrorists rampaged through southern Israel on October 7th. This is something that TIFF just decided we're canceling this film.
Yeah, this is the story of retired General Noam Tivon. By the way, just about 2 full pages inside the New York Post today. Canadians love to get international headlines. We should be embarrassed about this one. This is not a story where we want the international media to be paying attention to us, but too often, why are we being recognized on the international stage? Because we're doing crazy things. We're allowing anti-Semitism to foster. And now we've got the Toronto International Film Festival giving in to the mob. I mean, saying that you need legal permission from Hamas so that you don't infringe the terrorist copyright of their October 7th videos that they live streamed to social media channels like Telegram and elsewhere, showing the horrific things that they were doing, boasting about it, bragging about it, saying that you need to somehow come up with a legal obligation to make sure that copyright isn't violated. That's crazy. They just didn't want to show this because they were worried about one simple thing, and that is a mob outside causing violence. And we know the mob in Toronto can be big. Thankfully, the other night with the subway takeover, they petered out, but they're afraid of the mob.
Lorrie, for over almost 2 years now, the city of Toronto, big cities all across North America, around the world, have been taken over by these mobs. They've allowed to carry on unfettered, no accountability. So the filmmaker, like the film festival, the CEO Cameron Bailey coming out and made a couple of statements, probably got a lot of pressure from his board. You have to come out and say something. I'm just wondering if this was a concern about security. There are things that can be done to take care of that issue. Are they worried that because we have big movie stars here, they don't want mobs forming in front of the buildings in downtown Toronto?
Well,
What do
the
you think's
director,
happening
Cameron
here?
Bailey, denied that the issue was a concern about Hamas protesters. I don't know. That's what he says. If you ask me for my personal opinion, I don't believe him. I think they were definitely worried about Hamas protesters. And frankly, this is the artsy crowd. I don't think they wanted a film that showed anything sympathetic to Israel at this point, given attitudes from the left about. But the hypocrisy I would point out is that the Toronto International Film Festival has done, as it was perfectly entitled to do, films that were outlined the Palestinian cause, sympathetic films to the Palestinian cause. Last year, I think it was called, I can't remember the title of it, No Other Land, I believe it was called, which was about the hardships that Palestinians face because of the occupation. I wouldn't object to that. The occupation is, Palestinians are suffering. There's no doubt about it. Members of the Shin Bet, Israel's security agency, equivalent to the FBI, one of its former directors said the occupation was similar to, not identical to, but similar to what the Germans, the Nazi Germans, did to Jews. I mean, that's how far along the thinking is in Israel. And there are numerous other films. The thing that's inexplicable to me is the hypocrisy of TIFF. On the one hand, so vigilant about a film. And look, this film is about an Israeli who went to save his family, and who also helped other people. This isn't about the occupation. This isn't about food shortages in in what's we're going to call eventually a Palestinian state. Those are separate issues, and I could see films about that and the suffering of the Palestinians, all legitimate. This was a film about a rescue mission prompted by Hamas's terrorist attack on Israel, unprovoked, on October 7th, 2023, killing 1,200 Israelis, a lot of them young people, at a music concert, and taking, what was it, over 200 hostages, many of them who are dead, and a smaller portion which are still in captivity. And that's where you're going to hold the line. That's where you're going to. And what was the logic of they have to get permission from the handheld devices of Hamas? Hamas put that stuff out. They were proud of it. Don't we remember the phone conversations of one of them saying to his parents, "I'm killing Jews"?
Yeah.
They were proud of it.
Yeah.
So to me, to me, my own belief, I take Mr. Bailey at his word. I don't believe him. I think this was, and we've seen it at universities, we've seen it at political events. There's a fear of these pro-Hamas demonstrators coming and disrupting them. And frankly, at least if they said that, it would have been honest. At least, yeah, we have to protect people at this film festival. We're worried we're going to get 10,000 people storming in here, calling Jews Nazis and all that, so we're not going to run it. Okay, bad. It's part of how I think our democracy is weakening steadily in the face of these things. But okay, all right, I get that. I don't get they had to get permission from the terrorists to run the film that the terrorists wanted sent out to the rest of the world.
It seems like there's such a sympathetic ear, Brian, given to the pro-Hamas side, and yet when we talk about synagogues being attacked, Jewish girls' schools being attacked, hate crimes against Jews have gone through the roof, absolutely skyrocketing, canceling Jewish speakers, canceling Jewish comedy festivals, canceling anything that is giving the Israeli side. These are all being canceled. These are all being disregarded. Yet the other side is you constantly hear from them, oh, we want to have a dialogue, we want to hear all sides, we want to hear perspectives from everybody. Certainly not the case.
Certainly not. And, you said pro-Hamas. Let me point out once again that I have been going to these rallies that organizations supporting Hamas have had since October 9th, 2023, 2 days after the terrorist attacks. I've been to well over 100 of them, I would estimate. I have never once seen a sign saying, free the hostages. I have never once seen a sign saying Hamas should put down its weapons. I've never seen, a call for Hamas to stop raiding the food aid that's going through. So it is a pro-Hamas side. And you talk about the difference. Prime Minister Mark Carney, it took him more than 24 hours and a lot of people calling him out to say anything about the Jewish man beaten, his kippah thrown on the ground in Montreal last week, beaten in front of his own children. A man's now arrested. It took police more than an hour to show up for that. It took the Prime Minister more than a day to say something. And yet, when there was an attack on a Muslim girl in Ottawa, he was out with it right away. He wasn't posting cat photos the way he was before. So there's a double standard at play everywhere, and it's very, very unfortunate.
Lorrie, the Toronto International Film Festival receives millions of tax dollars, all levels of government. We've heard nothing from the Mayor of Toronto. We've heard from the Ontario Minister of Cultural and Tourism, Stan Cho, calling out TIFF. Nothing from the feds, of course. There's never any moral clarity on these things. I'm wondering, from your perspective, where does this end? What happens here?
Well, to me, I mean, now there is talk already that, the TIFF is reconsidering and that they may allow it in. My attitude, if we're going to publicly fund the arts, there are going to be controversies. It's just inevitable. And so I don't necessarily believe that you pull funding every time there's a controversy. But having said that, to me, the real concern and outrage to me is that this controversy would even happen, and that and that people that people at TIFF wouldn't understand the implications of not running a film that shows an Israeli perspective when they constantly run films, which is fair, showing the Palestinian. It's double standards and hypocrisy, and that's the problem.
Well, let's hope by the time this video airs to you that the Toronto International Film Festival has reversed their decision and this film will be screened. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and go to thetorontosun.com. You'll find commentary and coverage there you will not find anywhere else.